And today's tip of the week, David spent a good amount of time putting this together, and I think it really covers something important and a really good way to engage people who are kind of on the fence of your service or product or your membership program. So today we're going to talk about the 4 best practices for offering free membership trials to prospective members and users. So Dave, tell us a little bit about why you thought this was important for today and some of the amazing things you discovered, because I know this one is chock full of some good stats for us as well.
Yeah, it's always fun and interesting looking at numbers. So we made sure to include some pretty interesting statistics in this presentation, which we'll get into in a little bit. I think at a surface level, most of us understand why providing a free trial could be useful. You know, when we have the opportunity as consumers to test out a product before committing to buy it, it eases a lot of our nerves. But that's kind of looking at it at a surface level. So hopefully with this presentation, we'll be able to dive in a little bit and you can understand exactly why offering a free trial could be beneficial for your membership site and how you can actually get the most out of it, because anybody can offer a free trial, but if you're not pushing people towards it or optimizing certain things on your site or in your marketing, then the efforts being put into the free trial could be going to waste. So hopefully with this presentation, you'll be able to get some good actionable ideas to implement into your website, into your marketing, into your customer support. And so first of all, let's go over again why offering a free trial is beneficial. Again, at the surface level, we understand as consumers it's good to test out a product before having to actually purchase it. It eases our nerves a little bit, but it also shows the consumer that the organization offering the free trial can be trusted. It gives the consumer a chance to really kind of kick the tires a little bit before committing to the purchase. And it also lets the user or the customer compare your service against others. So if you're pretty confident in your service, or if you have a lot of competitors in your industry or your field, then providing a free trial might be beneficial because it allows consumers who may initially have wanted to go with one of your competitors to at least test out your product or service, see exactly what it is you're offering, and if it offers anything different or better that they're looking for compared to some of your competitors. Another really beneficial aspect of offering free trials is that you do get more people using your website, and so that provides an opportunity for you to collect more feedback from users. This feedback could be related to your marketing or your communication on your website. Maybe they're not exactly sure what it is you offer or what the benefits are to purchasing a membership. So that could give you a better idea of how to better communicate your offerings. They could also be wanting more features, or maybe you have features included that a lot of people may not find beneficial. So you may want to scale those back a little bit. There's a lot of ways to collect really useful feedback from even more users if you're allowing more people to use your service for free. At least initially with the trial. It also gives you the opportunity to offer incentives right after people begin their free trials. So if you're not offering a free trial and people come to your website and they only have the opportunity to purchase a membership or not use your site at all, not become a member, then you kind of lose out on a lot of opportunity to market some promotional offers to them to make it more worth their while to commit to a purchase. So, you know, when somebody signs up for a free trial, they get limited access to your website for a certain period of time for free. But during that time, you have a better ability to send promotional offers to them and try to convert them into a paying customer.
Just wanted to mention one thing about the chance to offer incentives on your point number 4 here, David.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Barbara from Shark Tank, one of the sharks on the TV show Shark Tank, she said once when she was coming up in real estate in New York, she was relentless. She knew that when she had someone that was a real prospect, that she would talk to them as much as possible. She said, if they're not talking to me and I'm not the one giving them the advice, they're talking to my competitor. So when you say chance to offer incentives here, it's actually a chance not only to offer incentives, but to continue the conversation and dialogue and engagement with someone who's on the fence. So you can influence them more the more you have their ear, or through emails or through the messaging on your site. So really the chance to offer more incentives is also the chance to direct and influence their decision making as well, because now you have their attention for that much longer. So just wanted to mention that.
That's a really great point. That actually ties directly into point number 3, which we'll get into later in this presentation. But that's a really good thing to mention up front. And then lastly, free trials, they have been proven almost regardless of industry to increase your conversion rates. So yeah, this presentation, it does tie in with the free trial period add-on. Basically, the way that add-on works, it allows you to set a number of days that certain membership plans can have a free trial available to them. So it's done on a per membership level basis. You just type in the number of free days that you want to provide members with. And currently, the way the add-on works is it does require users to put in their credit card up front, even though they won't initially be charged. But this way, you'll have their credit card info on file. And so if they don't cancel their account prior to the free trial expiring, their credit card will automatically be billed for the membership plan that they're registered into. We do have a update planned in the future, which would give you the option to collect the credit card on the initial sign up or not collect it. There's benefits and cons to both options, which we'll also get into in this presentation, but I just wanted to mention that up front, so keep that in the back of your mind. So best practice number 1, create a sense of urgency. So when somebody signs up for a free trial, it automatically puts a time frame on that user's decision-making process. They know, okay, I have this amount of time before, in the current scenario, before my credit card is billed. So let's test out this website, let's see what it has to offer, and let me make my decision quickly. So it creates a very important sense of urgency. Now, as for the average trial period length, as I mentioned, with the add-on, you do have the ability to choose how many days to provide members for free. So the average trial period, and this is across all software as a service providers, membership websites being one of them, the average trial period is between 14 and 29 days. The optimal length, again, across all SaaS platforms, is typically 14 days. Now, this can vary depending on what features you have to offer, what industry you're targeting, but optimal length typically tends to be about 2 weeks. And going into some statistics here, 89% of SaaS companies, again, software as a service, membership sites being one, 89% of them see a 50% conversion rate within 30 days of users beginning a trial. That's a huge conversion rate. So it kind of hammers home the point that we all kind of know initially, in that free trials give us an ability to test out a product before actually needing to commit a financial payment for it. The next statistic, 67% of those 89% software as a service companies saw those conversions within the first 14 days. So this gets into that optimal length of about 14 days. The majority tend to see a conversion rate within those first 14 days. Going a little bit further, determining how long of a trial to offer. You don't want to offer too long of a trial, because then people might end up forgetting about it. And if you provide too long of a period, that also reduces that sense of urgency. So it's kind of a bit of a balance that you want to have. And there's a couple ways that you can determine how long of a trial to offer. So you need to look at your target demographic, your target industry, what service you're providing alongside your memberships, and ask yourself, how long does it typically take for a member to achieve a result or get a quick win on your website? So whether that's receiving a lead or seeing their business profile live on your website, whatever a little goal may be for them, how long would that typically take them? How long would it take them to fill out and complete their profile? How many features do you have available to them? Is there a lot of things for them to explore on your site, or is it pretty standard and pretty well confined? And then also, what's the length of your membership? Are you charging people monthly or are you charging them annually? If you're charging them monthly, then you might want to provide them with a 7-day or a 14-day free trial, whereas if you're charging them annually, maybe you want to provide them with a 30-day free trial. So there's a few different factors to consider. It can vary, but going back to the optimal length, typically if you're unsure, you might just want to start at 14 days. That seems to strike a pretty good balance.
Those are some really good points, and I really like your point about giving them small wins, so they feel like they're accomplishing something on the platform, or they're actually getting something back, reciprocated back to them. And then also, in addition to that, is how can you make your product or service more of a sticky service, or like a high switching cost? Get them to add all their images, or get them to complete their profile. If you can find ways to make them not want to leave or not abandon the work they've done during their free trial, that's going to help assist with converting a larger majority of those free trial users into paid members, because just emotionally they feel connected to what they've done on your site, and it's going to be harder for them to want to leave. So find ways to make your product sticky and create that emotional connection so they don't want to abandon what they've created once the trial comes to an end.
Precisely, and this is just a simple graph showing the average conversion rate depending on the length of free trial. So you can see, again, 14 days right in the middle. It seems to be kind of the sweet spot. So now the idea of whether to capture a credit card upon the beginning of a trial or not require a credit card. As I mentioned, by default currently, as of April 8th, 2020, the add-on does require members or potential members to input their credit card information when they're signing up for a free trial. In the future, we'll release an update where you can choose whether or not to require a credit card. As I mentioned, there's benefits and downsides to both. So this is another kind of option that you'll need to weigh depending on the market that you're targeting. But to kind of compare and contrast the two, when you do require a credit card, so when somebody's signing up for a trial and before they even start their trial, you require a credit card, doesn't mean that they're going to be charged right away. It just means that you have it on file. That type of free trial converts typically little more than 0.5% of website visitors into paying customers. So when a website visitor comes to your website and you do require a credit card when they're beginning their trial, typically about 0.5% of them will go through their trial and then become a paying customer. Whereas if you don't require a credit card, that conversion rate about doubles, goes up to about 1.2%. As for converting visitors into just trial users, so this isn't considering whether or not they become customers, but just whether or not they become trial users, when you do require a credit card, typically have about a 2% conversion rate, whereas without a credit card, that conversion rate goes up by a multiple of 5. You typically see a conversion rate of about 10% of website visitors converting to trial users when you don't require a credit card. And that makes sense. As consumers, we probably would be more likely to sign up for a free trial if we didn't need to initially apply our credit card number, whereas we might be a little bit more hesitant if we did need to provide the credit card up front. However, with that being said, requiring a credit card up front, you'll typically see about a 50% conversion rate from a trial user to a paying customer. And that, again, it makes sense. People who are willing to put in their credit card information when they're starting a trial, they probably already have a pretty good idea of what your website offers, what they're going to get out of it, and they're probably already mostly convinced. They just need that final push to get them across the finish line. Whereas if you don't require a credit card, that conversion rate drops substantially down to about 15% of trial users converting into a paying customer. So that's another thing to consider. And going along with that statistic, requiring a credit card up front, it puts less strain on you to provide customer service to these trial users, because you do have a slightly lower conversion rate of website visitors to trial users when you do require a credit card. So you're going to have slightly less trial users, which would reduce the strain on you to provide customer service to those people, because you have less users that you're servicing, compared to whereas if you don't require a credit card, you're going to have more people signing up, which means you probably are going to be providing a little bit more customer service to them. So that's another pretty important aspect to consider. How much time available do you have? Is it just you managing the entire community? Do you have employees or partners helping you out with that? That can be an important aspect to consider, figuring out how much time you have available to dedicate to customer support and customer service overall. And the final thing to consider, probably not as important as time management, but it does also play into time management, is when you require that credit card up front, that credit card's already on file. So when that free trial expires, their credit card will automatically be billed. There's no need for you to follow up with them to get that credit card number and then to close the sale. Because their credit card's already on file, it's all done automatically. Whereas if they don't have a credit card on file as a trial user, you then have to either send out more email reminders to them or maybe follow up with them personally over the phone, asking them for a credit card number so that they can upgrade to a full-fledged member. So some important aspects to consider, again, benefits and downsides with both aspects. And this is probably going to be more of a personal decision rather than kind of a hard and true kind of one way or the other. And best practice number 3, this goes into what Jason was saying previously at the start of this presentation about kind of offering the absolute best customer service you possibly can, showing them that you're better than your competitors and staying top of mind, is to onboard your trial users as if they're already paying customers. You want to be able to provide the best customer support you can to all of your users, including the users who are on free trials. Now, the free trial users, they may become paying customers and they may not, but if you're providing them with the best possible support you can, you're increasing the likelihood that they will become paying customers. We've got another statistic here. 86% of buyers are willing to pay more for an excellent customer experience. I think most of us would probably agree with that number just from a personal standpoint. If we have two companies that we're choosing between and one of them has phenomenal through the roof customer service like we've never seen before and another one is just kind of standard or substandard, I think we'd all be willing to pay a little bit extra for that increased customer service. It also gives us a better feeling and trust towards that company that provides better customer service. So some other things that you can do to help with this onboarding process to keep these free trial users engaged and to keep your website top of mind is to send them a getting started checklist email. So by default, there's a lot of default email templates that are sent out to members with the Brilliant Directories system. But you can always add additional emails. You can edit the default templates. And a great thing to do is to initially send them a checklist of things to do on your website with their brand new account. So you can, in that checklist, you can include steps to add a profile logo, add their business details to their profile, maybe publish a piece of content. Whatever it is you want them to do on your website, you can include those call to actions in these welcome emails.
Explain to them how they can get closer and to that quick win that you want them to experience or have on your site. And then also include the ways that, again, make their profile or their subscription a little bit more sticky and harder to leave once they've already got the ball rolling with setting up their profile and other settings that are available to them.
Exactly, like that next point, some helpful tips emails on how these users can get the most out of their membership. You don't want to leave it up to them to kind of figure out what to do next after they create their account, where to go, how to do something. Give them direct steps so that they can get that initial win quickly. And then another thing to keep in mind is you can include promotional offers in your welcome emails. You don't want to bombard them with promotional offers, but having promotional offers in your welcome emails can lift revenue by about 30% on average in the software as a service industry.
Everyone likes a good deal, even if it's a discount on your first month or your first cycle of payments as well, just to help, enough to help people get over that hump.
Exactly, yeah. And going back to call to actions, you want to include these calls to actions. They can be anything. It could be to follow your website on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. It could be to get them to publish their first piece of content to complete their profile. Whatever it is you want them to do, include those CTAs in your welcome emails. And another great tip, try not to post just general content, either on your site or in your emails to your members. Try to customize them a little bit. Customize those default email templates. Make them better apply to your members and directly address exactly what it is they're looking to get out of your website. The default email templates that the Brilliant Directory system has, that all your websites have, they're great for general purpose, but they're kind of one-size-fits-all emails. So you might want to dive into some of those default email templates and just change some of the verbiage a little bit, make them a little bit more personal and relate better to your members and the target industry. 90% of consumers find custom content useful. I think that's a pretty obvious statistic. We'd rather see content that relates directly to us rather than just kind of being fed just kind of general content.
Dave, I want to touch on something. I saw a couple examples of, on our homepage we put things like, again, like streaming events and coupons and our top level categories, and that stuff is fine. But if you're an organization and it's more like it's a private member organization, it's not really about a searchable business directory. What I've seen a couple sites do is something like this. They'll use their article slider. And this is just an example here, but the articles in here aren't necessarily news articles. They link to articles that explain how the program works, how our membership program works, 10 reasons why you'll love us, is our community a good fit for you? Things that really answer a lot of FAQs or frequently asked questions about someone who's browsing or considering joining the website. So just wanted to help people think a little bit out of the box that, some of the things on your homepage don't necessarily need to be just about content, but about what your membership program and membership community is about and how people can get more information. Then, of course, when you have pages like this, it does increase curiosity. And in these articles that you write about, more about your community, you can have call to action buttons that says, wondering if it's a good fit for you, try a 14-day free trial. So as you're feeding them information about what your mission is, what you stand for, who your community serves, at the end of all those snippets of text, you can have those calls to action that can help elicit getting more people into your top funnel of the free trials that you're offering. So just some things to consider as you want to get people to pages where they can learn about you, not just see what the end user experience is, but what's behind the curtain as well. So just wanted to share that as well.
That's a great example. That goes into building trust between the member or the potential member and the website, and also establishing, I think, even more credibility for your website. We had one last point. Make yourself available. Have a contact page on your site. Include a contact form. This lets users voice their concerns and frustrations rather than posting on message boards, which you have no control over. It lets them ask questions directly to you. You get to receive feedback from people, better understand what they're looking for, maybe what things you could be addressing better. And then also adding a phone number. If you're really stretched thin on time, that may be a difficult thing to do, but just having a phone number listed on the site adds a lot of credibility to your organization as a whole. It lets people know that there's real people behind it, managing it, that you're accessible, that it's not just kind of somebody who set up this website hoping to make some residual income on the side and they kind of never deal with it. It adds a lot of trust. So that's a really big tip to consider. And lastly, we've talked about this in plenty of previous webinars, but adding a live chat feature to your website as well. There's a lot of great platforms. You can even do Facebook Messenger chat. There's other independent live chat applications like live chat. I think it's livechat.com or livechatinc.com. where you basically just copy and paste the script into your website, and it adds the chat feature. You log in and you can live chat with website visitors. That's another great way, and that's another alternative. Maybe if you don't want to provide a phone number, at least you're showing that you're available for direct communication that way. All right. Last best practice, number 4, prioritizing your marketing effort. So we do focus a lot on marketing aspects, marketing tactics in these webinars in the Facebook group, of course. But when you're providing a free trial, you really do want to focus a lot on your marketing efforts for those trials. Another statistic here, we got a lot of stats on this page. Almost 65%, a little bit under 65% of software as a service companies say that marketing is the best way to convert trial users into paying customers, more so than just typical run-of-the-mill sales tactics like trying to call them up on the phone. The biggest thing I think with the marketing aspect is just staying top of mind, and reinforcing whatever points it is you're trying to get across to them, that you can make their life easier or help them achieve whatever goals it is that they're looking for. Marketing is a great way to reinforce all those things and hammer those points home to your free trial users, and hopefully push them across that finish line to convert into a paying customer. Another great tip to aid in that is to add testimonials to your website, to your emails, social media, really anywhere you can add testimonials. You should. Testimonials have almost a 90% effectiveness rating when it comes to marketing efforts for software as a service companies. I know we're saying software as a service companies a lot. Many of you may not think of what you're doing as software as a service. It's really kind of just an umbrella term for a company that provides an online service. Your membership directory is obviously an online service, so just kind of think of it that way. But testimonials are a phenomenal marketing tool. You can sprinkle them all across your website. On your homepage, you can add a couple. On your About Us page, on your contact page, every once in a while, you can throw out a testimonial that you've received on your Facebook page or Instagram, maybe like an Instagram story if you have an Instagram account for your website. And the final thing is, and we've mentioned this so many times in previous webinars, content really is king when it comes to marketing, and video is increasingly becoming the most important type of content. I know video can be kind of intimidating to get into. You really don't need anything complicated to start. You could either do a screen share, you could record a video on your smartphone. I think almost all of us have smartphones now with great cameras. You can record simple videos on your phone. You can even edit videos on your phones now. So I really highly recommend trying at least to get into producing even just simple videos. They're more engaging than sharing articles or images. Of course, you should do all of that as well. But 78% of people now watch videos online weekly. About 55% of people watch videos online every single day. They're much more engaging. They're easier to consume. You can listen to a video. If you're driving, you may not need to watch it, but you can listen to it. If you're cooking, you can have the video on in the background. It's just a much more digestible form of content rather than only producing articles. So you can make your own simple videos. And another great tip is to incorporate into your video content is to throw those customer testimonials in there, the member testimonials. If you know for a fact you have this one member is just ecstatic about your website and everything it is that you're doing, you can ask them for a video testimonial. You can provide them with maybe like a big discount on their membership, or give them a little bit of an incentive to record themselves talking about your company. It can be 15 seconds, it can be a minute, but a video testimonial really goes a long way, and it goes a lot further than just a normal text testimonial, because this way people can actually see who it is that's giving the testimonial. They can kind of put a face and an identity to the words that they're saying. So that's a really good tip there. So that's all the slides that we have for this presentation. I did also want to mention, because I know this whole presentation is focused around the free trial period add-on. If you don't have the add-on, you can still take almost all of these tips to your website anyway and your marketing efforts, a great workaround would be to provide a free membership level with limited functionality. Now, of course, you don't have that that kind of time frame that you would have with a free trial period, but you can still provide a free membership level with limited functionality. That way you at least get people in the door. They get an idea of kind of how the accounts works, what they would be able to do if they unlocked more of those premium features if they were to upgrade, and you capture their contact information and all that stuff. So if you go about it that way without having the add-on, you can still take a lot of these tips and apply them to a free membership level as well.
That's awesome, David. These are some stats I wasn't aware of. It's really good that you put this together. It puts things in perspective on where we should prioritize our time and energy. And in this graph here, it says just under 65% should be around marketing. When you're doing marketing, and I think what David was mentioning is you're creating that brand awareness, and you're creating that sense that your organization is the authority in the industry or in the niche that you're trying to service. So with those marketing efforts, we always go to websites and we're like, wow, these guys have been around forever. Look at how many blog articles they have, and they have this and that. What they're doing is they're flexing their marketing muscles, and they're showing you that they are the industry leaders. Now, a lot of us have limited resources, so we're not going to create hundreds and hundreds of blog articles and videos and things like that. So what we need to do is find out what lead magnets, and they're called lead magnets, what things will have the highest value. What's the minimal amount of content we can create that will have the highest emotional impact on somebody's perception of your organization. So that's where creating like ebooks, like with guides and 10 tips for this and that, and creating these ebooks that provide really good pieces and nuggets of information that people in your industry really want. You just need a handful of those and some good landing pages, and that should be enough to build a marketing campaign around those lead magnets. So you use your time wisely, you're using your resources wisely. You don't need hundreds of blog articles. Maybe you just need 5 or 10 or just under a dozen, whatever it is. But then those are working for you behind the scenes to build that brand awareness and credibility and authority within your industry. So you can work smarter, not harder, when it comes to content, and let the content do the work for you. You just need to be ready with your free trials or your free membership sign-up option, or if you're not offering anything for free, just the ability for them to submit an application form that they're interested in joining your organization, so you can capture that information from the potential member or subscriber of your service. So David, great presentation. Thank you for putting this together.